I'd like to talk about improvisation in terms of taking a given song or tune, stating the melody, embellishing the melody, and then improvising over the structure to that given song or tune. The tune I'd like to demonstrate is Bye Bye Blackbird. It's part of the Great American Songbook. There is no actual publication called the Great American Songbook. That's a catch-all phrase for literature that was composed in the first half of the 20th century by the likes of George Gershwin, Cole Porter, Jerome Kern, basically songs that were created for Broadway shows and films that have become part of the canon of American music literature. Most of these old tunes were written very simply on the printed page as quarter notes, half notes, and whole notes. However, next to never would a jazz musician interpret a melody that way in performance. As an example, this is a typical rendition of the printed page, what you might see for Bye Bye Blackbird. Pretty simplistic, 8 bars in duration, 4/4 meter, stating the melody. A jazz musician would typically embellish the melody. And embellishment in itself is a form of improvisation. Embellishing simply means to alter the rhythmic shape of the melody and perhaps delete or add a pitch or two, all the time maintaining the integrity of the tune, making it obvious to the audience, band members alike, assuming you're playing with other musicians, that this is indeed that tune, in this case, Bye Bye Blackbird. A simple embellishment, but a variation on the written melody. And that in itself would be an example of a relatively simple improvisation. Now the next step, a true improvisation, so to speak, over the opening 8 bars of Bye Bye Blackbird. You don't have the freedom to play whatever you want. That's a great myth and untruth in jazz music performance practice. With a tune like Bye Bye Blackbird, depending on the context of who you're playing with, but in a more traditional swing style context, you're going to play in 4/4 meter. Again, as I was demonstrating, you're going to adhere to the harmonic structure of the tune, and you'll create phrases that are within the original spirit of the statement of the melody. 2, 3, 4. So that's a relatively simple improvisation where I adhere to the 8 bars, making the changes, as we say, which means adhering to the harmonic structure of the chords, the sequence of chords from one to another, otherwise known in the vernacular among jazz musicians as making the changes.